Make sure you don't miss a thing. Go to starzology.com/newsletter and sign up. Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Alison Price, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Arwynne O'Neill.
Hello, Alison. It's great to be here again.
So nice to have you once more. So in this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about things close to people's heart, which is job seeking with the sun.
Yeah, I love it.
Job seeking itself is one of those things that we all end up having to do at certain times. And many of my clients come saying, wanting to maybe find a new job, change job, or something like that. And astrology does have some tips about how to do this, or I've got some tips that are leaning on astrology about how to do it. Let's put it that way.
I love it. Yeah.
So the idea is that you want to be, if you're going to be doing whatever it is you're doing, you want to be doing it with the stars and the planets behind you, with what you're trying to do. Sure. And I know that job seeking itself can be a long, drawn-out affair. It can go on for weeks, days, weeks, or months.
Yeah.
And the point being that you can't necessarily, if you suddenly find yourself unemployed, you think, gung-ho, okay, let me do this, do that, and do this, and I'm going to spend 8 hours looking for a job, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm trying to get to with this, that there are particular times within the day that are better for job seeking and other job seeking related activities, rather than beating yourself up and saying, well, I've been trying for 8 hours and I haven't got a job.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure.
And I saw this with some friends of mine who were struggling to get work. And then this is when I decided to write this article, which was a little while ago. But the point being that there are particular hours in the day when you need to be doing this and that, and then there are hours where you could just let it go. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So hopefully it resonates with many people who find themselves looking for work, but also if you're an astrologer who actually does consultations, helping your clients too, because people do become despondent.
Yes.
About
demoralized.
Yeah. That it's a Friday and I still haven't got a job and I sent out 1,000 resumes and all of this stuff.
And then you feel guilty doing other things with your life, which you shouldn't. Because if you are between jobs, you will find another one eventually. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about this.
Yeah.
But this is also the time that when you're not looking for a job, you should be doing other things that are fulfilling, active, creative.
Yes.
Enriching your soul in other ways, because pretty soon you will be working 8 hours a day or whatever again, and you won't have time to do certain things. So, yeah.
So the idea is that I've got some thoughts about when do you start your job search? And actually, if you're employed or you require employment, which most of us do, I think you have to be always being ready to look for a job.
Yeah.
And these are obviously certain things that you need to get your resume up to date. You need to, we'll talk about it a bit more, get your LinkedIn profile the way you want it and things like this.
Yes.
It's difficult if you say work for a job in 10 years and then suddenly you find yourself unemployed and you haven't actually attended to your garden of job seeking and you've looked around and it's full of weeds, which is really the thing.
Right.
So it's always good to tend these. And anyway.
For sure. And even if you're happy at your job, it's always good to make sure that you're networking with all of your current coworkers on LinkedIn. Make sure that anyone you know at work, you're connected on LinkedIn. So if, God forbid you're laid off or if
it happens.
Yeah. Something
the company
happens,
goes bankrupt.
You have all those connections so that you can call back on them in the future, especially for references. Yeah.
Exactly.
Really
important. Yeah. So that's it. So you could actually be, if you're between jobs, and that means we call it between engagements, is how they say it in England. What do you do? Oh, I'm between engagements. That's mean they're looking for work.
Right.
But the point is that you might be unemployed and therefore looking for work. Alternatively, you might be underemployed.
Yes.
Now, perhaps you have a job where you're working, say, 2 days a week or 3 days a week, and you actually want something else to fill in. And it's not necessarily critical that you get that extra work, but you're underemployed. You could do more.
Yeah.
So there's that scenario too.
Oh, for sure. And probably more and more common gig economy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The side hustles, which we know well, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So you've got that too. So there's that sort of being underemployed, as it were. And then when you are actually, perhaps you are employed And you may have a job that you love, but things can change. And these are certain scenarios. I'm just going to read a couple out. So your boss may leave and you don't like the new guy.
We've all been there.
Yeah, your company could be taken over by somebody else and then things change. This happened to us years ago in Johannesburg too.
Yep.
The top people may move onwards and upwards, and this changes the corporate culture, the culture of the actual company you're in. Or you just hate your co-workers and they are crashing bores.
Yeah, very
and tiresome, which is, when I was younger, I would think to myself, this is such a phrase, a crashing bore. They're just so boring.
I love that phrase. We don't hear that much in North America, but it is so fitting. It's just like, yeah. It's not just boring, it's crashing bore. Yeah.
And other things too is that things can change at home as well. Some fluid things happen at home. So marriage changes your priorities, either if you're whatever it is, and of course divorce makes demands on you. So if you've been out of work and so on, a new baby means you have to earn more, or somebody does. An illness in the family could require more from you, so you may have to step up there. How's this one? Your aging parents may move in with you, so your overheads go up.
Wow,
these things happen.
Yeah. And then maybe you need to take a job that requires you to maybe be at home more. So looking for something that is remote or hybrid, as opposed to going into the office every day.
Well, this is the thing today, isn't it?
These days, yeah. I mean, these days, some people want to call it like a benefit, like it's some kind of perk. And for some people, it's not a perk. It's a basic.
Yeah.
You
work from home. Yeah, absolutely. And then your grown children may finally flow the coop. So maybe downsizing with less overheads is your option. And therefore, maybe you don't need to be earning. Right. But the point is,
remake that bedroom into a home office.
Yes. Or move into a smaller place so they can't come back.
Right.
Yeah. But these are all part of life. And we find ourselves during the course of our lives at crossroads. And the thing is to do with job finding. So there's that. And then there's also the one that you're just bored to death with your job, which I have found that when I was younger, this was my problem.
Oh, gosh.
So my question here is, ask yourself, if someone offers you enough money, will you take the job, any job? In what circumstances will you move jobs if you're bored to death? And what is your financial number, though? If somebody said, I'll give you X, Y, Z, and you move the job. And that's when you realize that something has to be done.
Yeah.
Not that it's not likely that someone will offer you that massive amount, but once you're questioning these things, this is when you need to start preparing yourself.
Yeah. And I almost had the opposite thing a couple of times where I was being paid enough that it was unthinkable that I would look for something else, but I was bored out of my mind.
Yes.
And that's it's like the golden cage where you're just,
the golden half. Yeah.
Your brain is atrophying away, or you're finding things to do all day that are not your job, and you're just there.
But the money's so good you can't. Yes.
Yeah. And that's its own problem because, you're stifled in a way, but at the same time, it's unthinkable that you would turn it down or try to find something else, and then God forbid be required to put in a lot more work than you're doing. Which
imagine. Yeah.
Can be a trap.
So I've also got some ideas about, if you're not quite sure of this, it depends how old you are at this, discovering your passion, knowing what you're supposed to be doing with your life. So these are some questions to ask yourself. What will you do on your next day off? Because that will show you. Are you volunteering on something or other? What are your hobbies now? Who do you talk to if you have a choice? What activity will you get up early for and go and do? And what would you do even if they didn't pay you? So that will give you some idea about how finding the passion there. But because this is more about you're in a job and it's killing you. So this is why we're looking for work too.
Yeah. And it's an interesting way of also coming up with keywords that you can actually use in searching for a job. And this was a weird thing that I think, going down a tiny bit of a digression here, but I did a little, and I think I've talked about this a few times because I was between contracts last year and looking for a job for, I think 3 months.
Right.
And I've been through periods of longer and shorter in the past, few years. But one of the things I did this most recent time was go to ChatGPT and put in literally not only my resume, but all of my personal characteristics that it might not know about me, like what type of team I like to work on, what kind of personality I have when I'm at work, who I respect, who I don't respect, what kinds of industries, and just what kind of teams I've enjoyed in the past, what I've liked to do that had nothing to do with the actual work. I liked to, this one particular job because there were this type of people there, or I got to do this type of weird thing that had nothing to do with my job, but I really enjoyed it, and put in all of those things into just a mind dump, into like a massive, just kind of stream of consciousness, and asked it for advice about what companies, give me the top 10 companies based in Vancouver that this person might be a good match for, that I would never have thought to. How do you search that way? How do you search for something that is, anyway? And it came up with some really good suggestions. None of them actually resulted in a job, but I mean, it was also something that was a really good distraction from just being on LinkedIn and hitting apply over and over again, and mind numbing, Yeah. So.
It's interesting now that we have these options, but the point is to use them, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, and to think outside the box a little bit, because the traditional job seeking of back in our day, like looking in the newspaper classifieds or
clipping it out.
Or when people would say, "Oh, your network is the most important thing." Well, what does that even mean anymore? Yeah. I've never gotten a job through my quote unquote network. Ever. I know a lot of people have, but I've never. So, yeah.
There's a lot of ways to look at this, and it's multifaceted. So it's not just a case of I need a job, therefore we're going to the sixth house. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Right.
We're going to give a more nuanced approach to how you look at a chart for these things.
Love it.
So I've also got this thing about ABC, always be closing a job offer. That once you secure a position, whatever it is, you're the widget person in the widget factory. I say don't settle. I say you need to be already creating your exit strategy of where am I going next, and have that mindset, because we were put on earth to do what we're supposed to be doing, not just work as in the widget factory.
Cog in the wheel.
Yeah. So tuning into that, and many people who do astrology are enlightened anyway, and it needs to be a mindset that comes, and yours will come from your chart as mine will come from mine.
Yeah.
But to have the thing saying, well, okay, what is my next strategy move here? And what am I planning to do next? So always be closing, ABC. Yeah. So anyway, what I want to actually talk about here is about what to do on a daily basis by following the sun's position as it transits daily through the daily transit chart, about what to spend your energy on, your precious time and energy on these days, and when to do these sort of things.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's have a look about what to do every day during the day on your job search. And I've got these into basically 2-hour chunks of the day. So we're starting off at dawn. So I'm saying from dawn to 8 a.m. Now, of course, dawn could happen at 5 a.m. or at 7 a.m. because clearly... And I'm talking about dawn when the sun rises above the ascendant.
Right.
So we're going for that. We're going from dawn to 8 a.m.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is don't waste your time on job searches at this time of the day. Avoid breakfast meetings for work, as they will go nowhere. The best you can hope for is getting snippets of background information on companies and people, or in other words, gossip. Listen to the news and keep your own counsel. Stop talking, spend this time in meditation, walk the dog, or go to the gym. And the reason is that the sun is actually technically in the 12th house. Nothing will come of this. This is not the time to push. This is the time to walk the dog. Do the meditation. It's too early. And this is why breakfast meetings never go anywhere, because they're in that period.
Fascinating. I had one interview that the lady was in somewhere, Calgary maybe, or Toronto, and she didn't realize what time zone I was in when she set the meeting, and I didn't double check, and so it was at 7 a.m. And I'm like, oh God, what? But I went, I posted up early, got my hair and
the makeup, the hair,
and we get on the call, and she's like, what time is it there? Because it was dark behind me.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's 7, and she's like, I'm so sorry. And I knew right then and there, like, I'm not getting this job. There's no way,
And the times I'm talking about here are your time zones, not wherever the job interview is coming from, because we're looking at your chart.
Exactly.
So at that point, when the sun has risen above the horizon at dawn, towards 8 a.m., it is technically still in the 12th house. You don't want to be doing things at that time.
No.
So that's your first window. That's the first thing, because my husband used to be a big proponent of, the breakfast meeting. Then he has a breakfast meeting. And I'm saying, why are you doing this? There's nothing's coming of it.
Yeah.
And he was saying, well, this is what men do. Oh, well, there you go. And maybe they do. But yeah, so that's not good for job seeking. That is not a good position at all. And then we get to 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mm-hmm. Now, this is good. Now, technically, what you've got here is the sun is in the 11th house.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you can run the main chart, you can go with the exact chart, but I'm giving these hours so that you've got a bit of a clue in 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So this is 11th house stuff. So what I'm suggesting here is, connecting online.
Yeah.
This is where you're doing your LinkedIn stuff, your Facebook, or whatever it is where you're reaching out with friends, 11th house and associates. And at this point, you can go to group meetups or pop in as a coffee or networking event because it's 11th house. So it's your groups and friends.
Love it.
And that's what you should be doing. So again, you're not just necessarily shoving your resume down someone's throat, but you are networking your group, your people, your tribe, your community.
And that can include ex-coworkers. And
absolutely. Let's have a drink. Let's go for coffee. For sure. This is a great time. So that's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Love it.
Which is a great time to do. And then we get to our time of 10 a.m. to noon. Now, this is when the sun is in the 10th house.
Yeah.
This is it. The golden hours, I'm calling it. The golden hour for job seeking every day. These 2 hours are excellent for everything job related. And I'll go through it a little bit more in detail. So when the sun is moving through the 10th house, career. This is excellent time. Any time. So if, say, for instance, you offered an interview, go for the 10 a.m. to noon position.
Yeah.
Typically, they say that if you want a yes answer to anything, you ask the question before noon. And if you want a no answer to something, you ask it after noon, because people are worn down and say, no.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's been proven, not just for jobs, but all sorts of things.
I think I instinctively somehow knew that without knowing it, because that is my favorite window for interviews. And also at work, when I am gainfully employed, those are my favorite hours for meetings.
Strategy talking, because you're going to get things done.
Just energized and the most sort of, yeah.
So if you're saying, should we build a new bridge across the river, and you want a yes answer, pose the question prior to noon. Yeah. And if you really want a no answer, then ask the question afterwards.
I love it.
And then we get to the noon to 2 p.m. slot. Mm-hmm. So now we've hit high noon, and technically that is the midheaven for the day. So we're now in the 9th house, right? Keep pushing on your job search. We're searching now. Yeah. We're seeking. Explore work outside your usual field. Look at opportunities further away from home, both nationally and internationally. Of course, that won't suit everybody. It might suit you, but it's 9th house. So we're seeking now. Yeah. We're considering broadening our horizon and reaching something perhaps foreign or further away, or it's going to stretch you in some way. And this is this period then from noon to 2 p.m.
Awesome. I love that.
So that's one of the better times too. And then we get to 2 to 4 p.m. So now the sun is in the 8th house. We're talking about the transiting sun. So what I'm saying is, seek endorsements from others. Gently, don't push it. Reciprocate with support for others through your endorsements or referrals for others. Unearth your back channels and the people in them. Offer to do little things for those who may help you later. So this is where, because we're in the 8th house, where you've got secret support. Yeah. Where you are saying, well, let me give him a take on LinkedIn because he knows how to do content marketing or whatever the thing is. And you are supporting others, and reciprocation report will come back to you.
I love that.
So it's about seek endorsement. So that would be the time to say, hey, Bob, could you give me an endorsement? Could you whatever, could I use you as a reference? Will you speak on my behalf in the future? Can I lean on you to give me a reference or something like that?
That's excellent. And it's also like corporately, between 2 and 4, they're unlikely to have important meetings of their own. So they will have the time to consider doing something like that.
Exactly. So if you want to say, for instance, can I give you as a referee, because I have a job and they want to phone somebody, will you be my referee? That's the time to ask the question of your potential referee.
For sure.
Referrer. That's from 2 to 4 p.m. because the sun is then in the 8th house.
Love that.
Secret support.
Nice.
Then we get to 4 p.m. to sunset. So technically now the sun is in the 7th house. And I'm saying don't do job searching at this time or sign anything. It's just not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the time of the day we just say, okay, I'm done. All right.
It's also happy hour, so
Yes,
you've done it.
Well,
you've done it.
Well, we're not quite done, but don't be pushing things at that time.
Yeah,
because the sun is about to set.
Yeah,
and then we get the time from sunset to 2 hours after sunset.
Okay,
so this is a good time for employment activity because now the sun's in the 6th house. Have those after work happy hour get-togethers.
There we go.
Butter up your contacts, but don't stay too long. Don't stay past the 2 hours after sunset. But this is where people are saying, yeah, we're meeting at the bar. We're going to have a chat and the boys will be there. Come on down. Go. But don't stay too long. You don't want to wait until it's in the 5th house. You want the sun in that 6th house where you're making those job connections with your peer group, not your management people. These are your peers. That's your 6th house, your work colleagues, other words, a peer group and so on.
Yeah.
People you work with. Yeah. And then we get to the next point the next section of the day would be 2 hours after sunset to midnight. So whatever time the sun sets, you're going 2 hours after that. And then we're going up to midnight. This is a tricky thing. Just let it.
In the summer, but
let it go.
Yeah.
Spend time with your loved ones, have some leisure time and work on your hobbies or read non-career related books. You can't be job seeking 24/7.
Yeah.
And this is why we're giving you a let out here at this point to midnight. Because that's when the sun is then in the 5th, which is your children and your leisure. And then it's in your home life, which is the 4th house, which is then attend to your husband or your wife or whoever's there and do family things, have those dinners and don't be, I got to get on the phone because it's not a good time.
No, exactly.
And then we get to midnight to 2 a.m. Right.
I'm hoping it's sleeping.
So you can't sleep. Right. This can be a good time for international calls, reviewing employment contracts, and signing electronic offers.
Wow.
Yes, but don't do knee-jerk acceptances. Consider any offers you receive during the day before using this time to slot for anything. Think it through because now it's 3rd house.
Yeah, if you're laying in bed and you can't sleep and you're scrolling and you see, oh, this came in. No.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the time when you're thinking things through.
Yeah.
Because it's that 3rd house of communication where you may get that message or you only just see the offer and you're thinking, oh.
Yeah.
So, and what are you doing awake from midnight to 2 p.m.? Well, you're lying awake because you haven't got a job.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's the 3rd house. And then we get to 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., which is now the 2nd house. And I'm just saying, go back to bed.
Yeah.
Now, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we get to the final one, which is 4 a.m. to sunrise. So this is now the 1st house. So what I'm suggesting is that if you are awake this early, concentrate on yourself. This is your time. Attend to personal grooming, stretching, and positive thinking.
Yeah.
Stand tall and wide and assume a power pose. Feet wide and arms outstretched, head up and hold it for 5 minutes. Prepare your clothes for the day. Write your gratitude journal and do the crossword to sharpen your mind.
Oh,
because you have to focus on yourself. It's like, I need to be ready for this day.
My connections, Wordle and Quirtle. That's what that would be.
Where is that again?
Oh, Wordle and Quirtle. Quirtle is the thing where there's 4 Wordles in the same page and you solve them all simultaneously. And your hands are on your face. Yes, but this is my new obsession. I do like 3 or 4 different Quirtles a day.
Wow.
Yes, Virgo. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a long commute on the days that I go to the office, but otherwise it's on my lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super.
So those are the times in the day about expending your energy seeking for jobs.
Yeah.
Now, because you can't be doing it 8 hours a day, you can't be doing it continuously on. So this is why I've chunked it down and say, put your energy into these things and then just let it go. So then we take a look at what are the best times in the year for job seeking. Now, this is more for people who are already employed, but are thinking of making a move. So the best time each year to start a career search is, well, from December the 22nd, when the sun moves into Capricorn, to January 19th, when the sun is in Capricorn. This is your top time for new year, new jobs, applying. Wow. And it happens that people come up to Christmas and think, I can't do another year in this job. I have to another year in this dreadful job that's mind-numbingly boring. I have to find something. And many people start seeking jobs at this time in the beginning of the new year, and they're searching, they're applying. And when we go back on January the 2nd, they're on it. And there's quite a big heave at that point because of Capricorn.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah. And also at the start of the new year, companies who are looking for people, recruiters, post ads at this time saying, okay, because prior to Christmas, they're saying, no, we'll do that in January.
Right.
We're looking for a new widget person. We'll put the job application out in January, which they do. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly everyone's looking, and it's a big Capricorn push.
Yeah. Actually, that is interesting because I've known some people who retired after a long career, and their replacements, they retire at the end of the year. And those really high, profile and high paying jobs are posted at the beginning of the year.
They absolutely are.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So that's why you need to ride that Capricorn bandwagon.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's the best time in the whole of the year.
Wow.
The second best time of the year is when between August 23rd and September 22nd, when the sun's in Virgo.
Yeah, that's been. Yeah.
Yeah. So this hits the back to school time when people get itchy about making a change because you've come off your summer holidays. Yeah. You've been talking with your brother and your sister and Uncle Bob, and you realize I got to do something.
Yeah. It's that life is too short kind of window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a huge time as well.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, you want the sun in Virgo at this time when you're doing these things. And we all feel this way. It's not just job seekers. You think, I should really do something. Let me have a look on the job boards. And you go and you take, and there's jobs there because it's in Virgo. And if you want to go for, this is something slightly different. If you want to go for a pay increase in a job you already have, you want to do this when the sun is in Taurus. So this is from around April 20th to May 20th. If you want a pay increase, do it when the sun is in Taurus. But if you want to get benefits or stocks, do it when the sun is in Scorpio, because you will get it's hidden benefits then. So that you might get, they'll say, Facebook will say, I'll give you 5 Facebook shares. That's when you take them, when the sun is in Scorpio.
Fascinating. Yeah.
So, and I do have a blog post with all these details because I'm giving a lot of information here. Good old Virgo, giving a lot of information here about timing and everything, and for these job seeking activities.
Yeah. So look in the show notes and you'll see links.
Absolutely. So next I want to talk about how to manage your time when looking for work, which you thought I already said that, but no, clearly not. And the idea is that your daily activities, you want to be doing, what are you doing at these times? Because there are several activities that you do when you're job seeking. So when do you send a cover letter or a resume, right? Really, you can spend hours writing on cover letters and resumes or completing bits of paperwork and what thing. But the important thing is, if you have to email somebody, it's when you click send, that's the timing that's critical. So again, if you're going to send an email applying for something, you want to be clicking send at our good times of the day, which are the golden hours, the good, the better, and the best. If you're sending snail mail, which still happens apparently, it's the time you actually put the envelope into the letterbox. So you want to don't do that when you're walking the dog at night. You want to be doing that on the right time of the day as well.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like tax time. It's midnight on.
Yes. Well, that's another thing. Yeah. So if you're posting letters or sending emails, make sure you're on the same times as what we spoke earlier. And then personal delivery. So you might decide that because you want a job here in the city, you're going to personally go in and hand in your resume. And some jobs make you do that because then it proves you're in the city, right? So again, we've got our golden hours. And let me just remind you. So between 10 a.m. and noon is the best time to do these things. Then between noon and 2 p.m. is what I'm calling the silver hours. They're better. And then sunset to 2 hours after sunset, which is the 6 hours, that is the bronze. So we've got golden, silver, and bronze hours of the day to do these things. So what not to do? Avoid posting and dropping off job applications from dawn to 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. to sunset. They're not good times. You're making, it's like an electional chart. You want it to happen at the right time. So pay attention to that too. What about a phone interview? They say, I can talk to you tomorrow at 10 or next week at 7. Then you want to have it. You want your best times, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. I'm banging in my drum here.
Yeah.
The best time is noon to 2 p.m. and then sunset to 2 hours after sunset. If you're on an international call, you can do it from midnight to 2 a.m. That's also a good one. Who does this? But people do. I know they do.
Yeah.
And again, avoid interviews from dawn till 9 a.m. You don't want to do that. And 2 p.m. to sunset.
Yeah.
What about a face-to-face interview? They finally get you through the phone interview. They say, okay, we need you to come in. You might, if you're offered times, you want to pick it cleverly. So face-to-face time interviews, again, 10 a.m. to noon. That's the slot you want.
Yeah.
Then noon to 2 p.m. is okay, and sunset to 2 hours after. Same time schedule for face-to-face interviews.
Yeah.
And again, that 10 a.m. to noon is the best time because you'll still get a yes answer then.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you're likely to get a no answer.
Yes. I'm looking back to the times that I had interviews at certain times, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing. When do you accept a job offer? They offer you a job. It comes electronically. This is how it is these days.
And then you can choose when.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's important is the time you sign the offer.
Yeah.
So say that you get a job offer and it's there in your inbox at 8 a.m. You don't want to be doing it then.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till it's 10, between 10 and 12. Or you get one in the afternoon, pick the right time. Don't just knee-jerk reaction on it.
Yeah.
So it's the time you sign that's important because they're not even going to read it till the next day, right?
Right.
And again, when to accept offers is going to be on our golden hour. Our golden hour of which I've got this diagram here. Your absolute best time is the 10 to noon time to actually do anything job related.
I feel like I'm desperate to go back into my sent mail and see when I signed my contract for this person, my current.
Oh my goodness, Arwynne.
I almost don't want to know, but I'm curious now.
Yeah. So the idea is that you want to be aligning yourself with the daily solar transit by looking at, you wake up and you're going to be looking at the chart for the day, the transit chart, and saying, well, the sun is actually going to enter the 10th house in my location at 9:45 or at 10:30. That's when you want to be doing it, between 10 a.m. and noon. That's your best golden hour.
Yeah.
Golden hours, because it's a 2-hour window generally to do job related things. Yeah. So that's why you want to be doing that at that particular point in time.
And as someone who recently was job searching for, as I said, like 3 months, doing everything that you can before noon and then a little bit in the afternoon, it keeps you from just feeling like out of guilt that you have to be doing it all day too.
Because it's
you know, because you could be. You're like, well, I'm not doing anything else. Normally, I'd be working 8 hours. I should do this 8 hours.
And you can't do it because it's ineffectual.
Yeah.
So focus your concentration on the best 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then you can give yourself permission, or I'm giving permission to say, and just let it go.
Yeah.
Because nothing will come of it.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, do something else. Draw if you're an artist, or go for a walk, or
go to the gym.
Add more time in the gym, or hang out with friends. Anything that you would normally not have time to do, this is the time that you can do it. It's not like that you've chosen to have this time off, unfortunately, but you have the time. And you're going to look back once you have a job and maybe regret that you just did nothing but sat on the couch, you know, and
because it's overwhelming for people. They get so despondent. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And we all have. You can go on for 2 or 3 months thinking, hang on a minute, if I don't get a job soon, we're going to have a problem making the rent or something. And that pressure, that mental pressure, wears down the person who doesn't have the job, especially if you're in a household where somebody has a job and they're carrying the load. But astrologically, I hope it's making sense what I'm saying, that you need to be expending your energy in line with the sun's efforts.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, you can't surf in if the tide's going out.
Right.
So make sure you know when the tide's coming in and then get on your surfboard. And that's when you need to be doing these things.
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. So it makes sense to, I mean, of course, you're thinking about this all the time, but you can't be saying, you can say, well, my job window is 10 a.m. to noon, and I definitely, you need to be doing your job search at that point. Yeah. And even then, the other time, the sixth house time too, you want to be doing your job search then. But the other times, we're giving you a pass on them because there's, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, it doesn't mean you can't be on LinkedIn. You can't be scrolling through things and researching companies and applying. Sure. But those are the times that you want to.
Don't beat yourself up about it. And this is what actually happens is people say, well, I've been looking for a job and I've been working 8 hours a day and I still can't find a thing and this and that. And they're worn down and they're psychologically worn down because of it. So astrologically, what we're saying is, give yourself some grace.
Exactly. And being psychologically worn down, of course, isn't a good look as well. You know, you want to put your best foot forward. You don't want to seem desperate and demoralized and all that stuff. And
it's one of those interesting things. Yeah.
Another interesting thing is what you have in the 10th house and or where your sun falls in your chart, because I think that can sort of dictate how you approach job seeking, how you approach your job, how important your job is to you, the types of jobs you'll be attracted to, and that sort of thing. So you kind of want to just know yourself.
You need to know a little bit about, have you got planets in the 10th house, for example, because then your career is going to be important.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, I have the sun, Mercury, and the moon in the 10th house. So anytime I'm between contracts, it is, it's not devastating, but it's like, it's a full-time job finding a job. It's very hard for me to think, I'm relaxing, I'm taking this time off. I've done that once, which was great. And it was summer, which made it a lot easier. But yeah, it's,
you need to be gainfully employed.
Yeah. And your job is important to you. If you're, if you have things in the 10th house, it's something that you don't feel like yourself if you're not employed. And
it's
you're
interesting,
not,
right? And also
providing.
And because here's the thing too, because you've got 3 planets there, ideally you could have 3 jobs going, 3 careers going at the same time.
Oh, and I have.
There you go. Because that each planet is indicative of the type of career that you want to be doing. So as a writer, Mercury's front and center.
For sure. Yeah.
And a podcaster, as a podcaster,
absolutely.
So is Mercury, right?
Yeah.
And again, because the sun is there, you're talking from the heart.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, my work is communications and marketing and all that stuff. So I'm writing for a living as it is.
You're doing it anyway.
Yeah, I'm doing it anyway. But
in the public domain.
And then blogging and also podcasting and also art and blah, blah. Yeah. But let's say you have the sun in the 6th house. Well, that's your job is also very, very important to you for different reasons. Sun in the 2nd house. It's maybe not something about your personality, but you are a provider. You
need your resources.
Your resources and your values are very much tied up in what you do for a living. An interesting thing that I encountered when I was looking for a job and talking to my friends, and my best friend, I know I've talked about her before. She's a Taurus,
right?
So her sun is like in my 7th house, and we have that very active friendship. We roller skate together. We take long walks together. She has a big dog that we walk together, and we go dancing together, and blah blah blah. So it's a very active friendship. But she is a school teacher. She teaches kindergarten. Right. And in Canada, especially, I think probably this is true in a lot of places, but in Canada, we have the school system is a public school system. Right. I mean, we also have private schools, but public school is very regulated. So there are certain bands of income that you get at certain levels. It's very much, it's regimented. So if you're looking for a job, you're not going to the competition. You're not, you're not seeking jobs on LinkedIn. You're in the system. Your employer is Canada, right?
Right.
Basically. And so for her, it was very interesting, I think, hearing about my job search, and it was probably very exhausting and kind of mystifying as well, just hearing like how crazy LinkedIn is, how crazy
in the corporate world.
Yeah. And how many applications I would have to send off every day just to feel like I was even treading water. Yes. And, and how fungible the whole, remuneration is. Like you can either go, I mean, I'm incorporated, so I can do a contract thing, or I can be an employee, and there are benefits to either, no pun intended, but there are benefits to both sides, and you can kind of choose your own adventure if they actually want you. But she doesn't have that. What she has is you can take certain courses, and that, you can go up in like $10,000 increments, if you take all these courses and learn a bunch of stuff and get credits towards whatever. So it's interesting. Like just everyone needs to have a job. Unfortunately, that's the world. But it's different, and it will occupy a different part of your life, and your ego expression, which is the sun, your mileage will vary depending on your chart.
It's very, very true where that sun is placed, where your heart is, and what did you get out of bed for, really?
Right.
And as you say, with this 10th house sun, it's you're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what you do in the public domain is important to you. Yeah. You, Arwynne,
right? Because
you've got that strong 10th house, which is a great thing.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. Well, my son's in the 1st house, so. Right. And I'll tell you, I've got nothing in my 10th house, and I've got nothing in my 6th house. And honestly, if I never had a job, I would be happy.
Right.
Because I'm quite happy being independently me.
Yeah.
Which is I don't have that urge to climb the corporate ladder or even find where the ladder is.
Yeah.
Whereas others do. And they're now VP of widgets and second VP of widgets and whatever it is.
So for you, having a job is strictly a transactional thing. It is putting the food on the table so that you can do you. So you have the freedom and the resources to do all the other things that are.
Yeah, it's not the most important thing in my life. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And especially when I was younger, I had a lot of disdain for the people I work for because I think because I've got other things going on that are being sidetracked by, what you mean, I've got to go to work in here.
Right. Yeah. Oh, no. There's an AGM. Are you going to be logging in for that? And you're like, I don't care.
No.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, and of course I did have proper jobs, if you will, it was never who I was. It's just something I did, and I wouldn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
People say, well, how was your work? I say, I don't want to talk about it. It's irrelevant to me because my chart does not lean towards that. It leans towards other things, you know? So,
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not something you could say in an interview.
I know. It's like what you want me to say this and say that and wear the thing. And you have to conform. And that is very much the Capricorn 10th. You do have to conform and present yourself in a certain way and so on. So, yeah. But it's interesting. So you do need to know your own chart too, I think. But what I'm trying to say with this episode is don't beat yourself up 24/7 trying to find a job because the energies that's not what the chart's for.
Yeah.
Pick your moments.
Yeah.
Pick your battles. And that's between 10 a.m. and noon. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So just, to give the overarch about what I say. So I want to say here, pace yourself during your days of your job search so that when you go down to the family barbecue and Uncle Bob says, still haven't found a job then, you can say, no, but I'm doing the very best thing I can because I'm using astrology on my side to do it my way. And you're not draining yourself or psychologically draining yourself or becoming an old grump at home because of how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. Know
that you are doing the best you can astrologically because you're following along with these hour times, what I've suggested.
Yeah.
And you can't look for work every waking minute. So allow yourself times to push and times to release. And I want to say good luck if you are looking for work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you found value in this episode, please make sure to share it with anybody who'd be interested. Make sure you're getting our newsletter, and you can sign up at starzology.com/newsletter so that you know what's going on, and a lot of opinion coming through about astrology, and that comes out every Sunday. And I'm just reinforcing that because we had some questions about that this week. And additionally, make sure you're getting Arwynne's newsletter, and you can find Arwynne
I'm at mspink.net, mspink.net, and I send out my newsletter, my blog every Saturday. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's a great read as well. So make sure you're getting Arwynne's too. So thanks so much to everyone who's got this far, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the two main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer or someone who's learning astrology or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.